Mm, mm. Oh, I'm recording, aren't I? Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about dancing mini-bosses, right? And we're going to get a little bit of dancing, alright? And hopefully, as your dance instructor, I will show you exactly how you can be dancing the mini-bosses, right? And I'll be doing my best to explain it. Now, first, let's go over to the ramp amplifier. And the ramp amplifier I probably explained previously on my videos, right? And this seems to be a very stable amplifier. Alright, now, so I covered how to build the ramp amplifier previously in my videos, right? Which you can go ahead and click on one of the links below, which has pretty much a list of all the builds that I do, right? So the ramp amplifier design over here is going to be adjusted so that it'll be dancing the mini bosses, and most of the time it's going to be dancing over here, right? They're going to be going back and forth like this over here, and or they could be going over here, right? But most of the time there's going to be on the northeast, right? And what's going to end up happening is that they want to try to target these particular walls, either this wall over here or this wall over here, right? And these walls are right next to the battery over here, right? And this wall, if you put a wall over here, for some reason they don't seem to want to target until much later on, right? But these walls on the sides are the much higher priority and not the very back wall, right? And once these two walls are broken, then you want to try to go through the back walls over here, right? And also over here. But for some reason, it seems like they bug out and just start dancing over here. It's almost as if it's like, oh, I can't path over there for some reason. Oh, might as well try to change in my direction. Oh, wait, I can path over there. Oh, wait, you know, there's something really odd going on there. So I'm not sure exactly how the mechanic really works, but the only thing I do know works is trial and error. Is pretty much what most people do when they play Fortnite, when they're building, is that they don't know exactly how things work, but they just know, you know, like what works, right? And essentially I'm going to be explaining what works, but I don't know the exact details of how it works. It's just that I know the builds and just keep on testing, right? And pretty much the guess from my point of view, at least from what I test, is that it's going to be one of these walls over here, right? And then the next priority is again the back walls right next over here, right? And somehow it's just glitching out, right? But however, to make sure that they path over there, we need to have appropriate amount of layering, right? An appropriate amount of layering is 3 layers. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 layers over here, and this is the 3 layers required to make sure that they path inside over here and not on the outside over here, right? Because if you didn't have the 3 layers, you actually want to hit on this wall over here and try to go through to get to this layer, right? So you need to make sure you have these 3 layers over here, and then of course this layer on here, right? So technically you need a total of 4 layers, right? So they can path 1 additional tile over here. Same thing on this side over here, you do need to have 3 layers over here, right? So 3 layers, 1, 2, 3 on this side, right? You can see 1, 2, 3 on this side, but then on the other side over here, right, which is closer to the wall, you need 4 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this wall is going to be really important as well, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so make sure you have those 4 layers, you should be good to go. Okay, and pretty much you can copy this kind of design, right? But I'm trying to explain exactly why I'm doing this design by the appropriate amount of layering. Okay, as well, make sure you have a roof, and the roof is not necessarily for the mini boss dancing, it's unrelated. The roof is actually for the AI stability when it comes to the lobbers, right? The lobbers and the occasional off rare aggro that can happen, right? And the same kind of aggro is kind of the explanation of why the cheesy build, which I did have on my Valley amplifier, didn't work sometimes, that cheesy build. Alright, so that is pretty much the design over here, right? Make sure you have those walls. I mean, you can just pause the video whenever you want and just kind of copy and paste, right? It shouldn't be too hard to replicate. Okay, now you might be wondering, hey, why do I have these little wall spikes over here, right? And the reason being is because if for some reason the husk does come through, right? So because this tunnel is not necessarily the best tunnel in the world, right? But if a little hustling somehow made it over here, right, and they're trying to get towards me, which, oh my god, this guy keeps joining in. I'm gonna have to remove this guy. 1 second. I gave him a warning, but let's just go ahead and remove. There we go. Okay, so now the reason why I have the wall spikes over here is that if a hustling comes in from over here and they want to whack on the wall over here, right? They want to whack on the wall over here when they're trying to target me, which is really odd. I'm standing all the way over there. So if they're trying to target over here, then I have a wall spike just in case that they do, right? These are just for that case that can happen. Right, because if one of these walls get destroyed, the mini boss is no longer going to be dancing, right? And that's really key, right? So I want to make sure none of these structures get destroyed, right? So in a sense, this mini boss dancing is kind of delicate, where you can't have any walls destroyed. But at the same time, if none of the walls get destroyed, you can have a very stable mini boss dancing and not really spend too much on your structures without worrying about the design being broken from the mini boss. All right, so that's really key, which would let me AFK really well. And also, you know, it's kind of cool letting them dance, right? It's kind of cool. All right, so that's that design over there. I can probably remove this ceiling trap. Oh, sorry, the what's it called? Anti-air trap. Yeah. All right, so this is for the Wamp amplifier design. Let's go over to the beach, right? Now the beach over here, I probably will do another video on, right? Explaining this particular design. I do have to test it more and more to confirm that it does work. Right, but so far it's been working out of the many runs I've done. I think I did 50 runs ish. Well, not, yeah, it's hard to say how many I did, but I did a ton. And there's only one time it truly failed, which those two got destroyed. But I'm trying to figure out why, and I think it's because I didn't have some of these lava shields over there, and somehow the lava missed and hit itself. I don't know. So I have to figure out exactly what happened down there, right? But so far it's been working pretty good with that one rare case that those got destroyed for some reason, right? So I just still have to investigate in that, but so far it's been working. All right, pretty decently. But to be honest, right, you can probably do a dancing build without this, but I have to think about how to do that, right? Because I'm forced to path them in here. But yeah, that's something to figure out, but I'll show you this particular design. So essentially what we're going to do is put a slant on there, right? Put a slant there, put a wall here, put a wall there, put a wall here, 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 and here, right? And that's pretty much the overall expected design. Those two extra walls are actually not for the mini boss dancing, but they're actually for the amplifier design to prevent the AI from going bonkers, right? Because you need to have appropriate amount of structures, right? So I'm adding those two extra walls over here just to make sure the AI doesn't go too bonkers on me. All right. With that in mind, I actually should test to see if this actually needs a roof on here, because I did have roofs previously, but this is going to be a new test I'm going to do, see if I don't need a roof on it. All right. As well, additional to that, we're going to need to make sure we have this flat floor over here, a slant like this, right? And then this wall like this, right? So we know a wall like this, make sure you have that, and you also should be good to go. And the reason why I need this here is not entirely sure. I didn't have these before, and the mini boss didn't dance, and I couldn't figure out why. But I left it here for now, and perhaps in the future I will see if I can remove some of these structures, see if I don't need them. All right. But for now, keep that in mind. I'll put them here too. Now, as you can see, because of this, right? If I know 100% that the mini boss is going to come in from this direction, right? Going to come in from this direction and going to start dancing in here, right? That means that none of the structures on the amplifier should ever get destroyed. For that reason, I have changed the Wamp amplifier block off instead of here, because I used to have a block off over here, right? I used to have a block off over here, but instead I changed it to actually right on the beach amplifier, right next to the spawn over here, right? So you can see I have kind of like a little system over here, right? With two wall darts shooting through, this little dynamo, the wall launcher is over here, and then the wall light for additional crowd control, right? And I have a gas trap, right? a little bit of an extra design over here, but essentially I just want to make sure that they don't break on this wall, right? So if this wall gets broken, then then that bad things happen, right? So I just want to make sure this wall doesn't get broken, but the husks that go on here are most likely going to be either nurse husks, the little, what's it called, laser boys, the little husklings, you know, pretty much all the assassin husks, right? Want to hit on the wall. But sometimes they might go like outward somewhere, or But yeah, this, generally speaking, you need to make sure it's really heavily enforced, because not only that it's right on the spawn, right, which is pretty much right on here, but it's going to have a lot of different husks want to beat on it, right? And it's really critical that we don't have this breaking, because if assassin husks are leaking through over here, it could be a chance that it might break on some of the structures over here, which I don't want to happen, right? Because I do need these structures for the mini bosses to dance, right? To dance back and forth. Now, if they do get stuck, right? So suppose a mini boss does get stuck here and there, right? Sometimes they may want to teleport, but when they teleport, what ends up happening is they teleport over here, which I'll show. So they either they teleport somewhere in this block off over here, right? Somewhere in the block off over here, maybe in here, right? Or actually, I think it's right in here. But when they teleport in the block off, what ends up happening is that they actually just path all the way over here, all the way over here, and then they just loop all the way around over here, which is really odd. In some cases, for other people, they seem to break the block off and keep breaking block off. For me, they teleport in on top of the block off and they just loop all the way around. So I thought that was really interesting, right? And that's something you should also keep in mind too when you're testing these mini boss dancing, is to make sure that if they do teleport for whatever reason, that they're still not breaking the build and they loop, right? Now if you want to go over the actual design of this, right, I can go over this briefly, right? But essentially over here I have a flat floor and I have a half floor over here, right? And I am aware that there is a spawn over here, right? There is a spawn over here which does break a flat floor over here, so you can't use a flat floor here no matter what, right? But however, I've been using this half floor and the full floor over here because the husk can path on this tile over here. So you see over here, the husk can path excuse me, they can path on here. So I'm thinking that I'm trying to use this to see if I can path all the husks here, right? But I need to know exactly how reliable this pathing is, right? Because this is something I generally don't do, okay? And I know for sure the other build that I've been doing, right, in my video, it does work 100%. So I have one layer over here, all the way across, 2 layer flat floor, 3 layer on the slants, 4 layer walls over here, 5 on the slants over there, and 6 layers the walls all surrounding that. Right? And have a layer over here, just this little slant. And then we have the floors all the way across over here. So you see that there's floors all over here. There's 6 floors in total, right? And then 3 floors on this side over here, right? 3 floors. Sorry, 3 pyramids on the side over here. And then just 1 wall over here, just 1. Right? And pretty much the logic is that for my previous build on the beach, right, I only had floors on the pyramid side over here, right? I only had pyramids on the side over here from the previous build. So that means that I only needed 2 layers for my pathing for over here, right? So that's pretty much what the logic is. That's why I had this kind of layering, just from my previous build. All right. Now I guess there's some other little things here. I added a wall spike here in case I'm on that side of the map for whatever reason. And then I have a wall spike here in case, you know, phasing, stuff like that can happen. And then, you know, there's just pretty much the exact same kind of build we previously. Now, one additional thing I did do, which you can do in your beach video, in your beach builds, if you're not doing this joint pathing, is that you can do a chain launching over here. So in these wall launchers, I actually switched them up to 3 times impact double reload over here, right? Because I'm not expecting much durability in these, right? So this launcher will launch into this floor launcher, which is triple impact double reload, which then will chain launch them all the way towards the north, right? Which then this could double chain them into the pit, right? So you can kind of see how this little slant over here I designed it, right? You can see how I designed it over there, right? But I could do a separate video for this new beach if I am confident that it does work reliably. Alright, I added a floor over here because when I didn't have a floor, it seemed like there's on a rare occasion that a propane may explode on this wall that got stuck or something. So I just added a floor for that. But I had a little bit extra structure, but to be honest, I don't have much right now. But there are ways that you can save more structures, and I'll show you how. But I've just been spending them personally because, you know, I like to spend. Okay. But that's the beach design, and that only is because the reason why I have them joint is because so the mini bosses can path in the same place, right? But perhaps there could be another mini boss dancing system where you can have both of them coming from different directions, right? Alright, so let's go on to the valley. So this is the valley over here, which I have mini boss dancing as well. Alright, so you can see how I designed it. It's pretty much very similar to my previous video, which I showed it. Right, we're gonna have walls all surrounding it except for over here. We don't need these walls over here. That's perfectly fine. And then we have additional layer in the back, right? So over here I have 2 additional layers, and over here I have 2 additional layers as well, right? Because the targets are going to be this wall and this wall, right? So those 2 targets, right? So this wall and that wall over here, we're gonna target that. So this is kind of like the design I have, and pretty much the mini boss is gonna be like, I'm gonna go in here, go back and forth, or go in here, back and forth, right? And that's pretty much what they're gonna do. Right, and it seems like it because of this, maybe this leg is like blocking the pathing, right? Yeah, maybe that's the reason. But yeah, I also did a little bit of changes to the valley amplifier itself over here, which not really much to really note of. Just, you know, timeout boxes. I stopped using the half floor pathing because, yeah, it's fine. I don't really need it. And yeah, pretty much there's not really that much changes over here. Just a little bit of additions. This wall light is kind of a little testing. I haven't tested it yet to see if it works, but pretty much seeing maybe I can use a little timeout box over here. Maybe, right? A little bit of changes here and there, but essentially the same idea. But at the front, I've done a little bit of these little tire traps because it seemed to be really good for getting the husk back, right? So what I did is I put these floors as healing floors, and then just launched them using regular launchers, launched them all the way up. It seems like it's pretty good for getting most of the husks out, but sometimes a nurse husk still would come in here, right? So yeah, that's the trouble. When a nurse husk comes in here, it's really hard to take care of them. It's really difficult, right? So that's why I still recommend you use supercharged traps when you're doing the Valley Amplifier design. And there's pretty much only one reason, is because it is nearly impossible to kill nurse husks, right? The only way I know of 100% to kill them is to nuke them, right? With the double dynamos, right? Double dynamos with wall dart combination, or the one-hit kill ceiling zapper with a 33% chance, right? So those are the only 2 ways I know you can kill them 100% or close to it, right? So yeah. But anyways, that's for another time over here. This is just, you can do whatever kind of damage build you want. This is just what I'm using so far. Alright, so for the lava over here, this is again from the same video, right? Now, there's one additional thing I would like to mention, is that on wave 26, there is the weird AI that can happen, which could make you fail. And that weird AI is pretty much, it's kind of like the same AI which makes cheesy build fail, which all the husks just start to want to be on this wall, and it starts swarming it, right? And it's really rare. This seems to only happen on like wave 26. But since I added these over here, the structures 1, 2, 3, it solved that problem. So go ahead and add those structures 1, 2, 3 for the roof on this amplifier, and you should be good to go, and that problem should never happen again. Alright, I might even remove this healing pad. I don't think I actually need it. Okay, but this same kind of design is the exact same from my video, right? Which, if you haven't watched it, go watch it, right? Where I'm going to put these 4 walls over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put these 2 walls over here. I'm going to put the slant over here on this side. Put a slant over there. I'm going to put a slant over here. And I'll put a slant over here like shown, right? And pretty much just copy the build like word by word. And the reason why I say just copy it, because I have no idea why it works. Really. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit it. I have no idea why this works. The Vixen does whatever this, and I still have no idea why it works. Where the mini bosses pass back and forth over here, right? And it seems like the priority to, and it seems like this target and this target are the priority. But for some reason, they just don't want to hit the wall. Instead, they just bounce back and forth. I just don't know why. I cannot explain the reasoning behind this dancing. Now, one thing I do know, right, which is rather interesting. This is really interesting information, which I think I recently can confirm, is the reason why this build works where 90% of the husks come in from here, right? So as you notice, like pretty much most of the husks come in from this little long cave, and I think I figured out why. It has to do with me connecting to the block off. edges. It's something that I always said not to do, but it seems like this over here has been connected to block off, which is half. This is diamond floor over here, which connects to block off over here, which eventually connects over here, right at the very front. But they don't break through because it seems like there's a sufficient amount of layering. But what ends up happening is that the majority of husks are thinking that this is the amplifier over here. Yeah, this target wall over here. I'm serious. They think that for some reason this is part of the amplifier. So the closest pathing to that would be over here. But they can't. It's better to just take a shortcut and break the appropriate wall that they want to break, which is somewhere down here, right? So they want to break on the wall down here, but there's too many layers over here, right? So they have to path around. But this is actually the amplifier right over here on the sound wall. So the closest pathway to that is over there, right? But this kind of AI thing actually doesn't seem to apply for certain husks, such as propanes, smashers, and certain assassin husks too, right? But for everything else, it applies to that, which is really odd. And I discovered this when I was doing the bridge design, right? And I was seeing what happens in certain situations, but I'll get to that. Okay, so we have the hill design. Now the hill design, I normally have the wall over here with the roof over here, but this wall seems to, mini boss wants to break, so I'm trying out this little new design, right? A little new design using the roof on top here, right? So I'm going to test more on this. But essentially, this is the design over here. I need to test also the wave 26 rare spawn, which see if it doesn't break through. Right? But again, more testing. So essentially, what's going to end up happening is I have this in the design, and they want to break on this wall on target, right? So this is the wall that you want to break on target, okay? Because normally, it's either going to be these two walls over here, right? And then the next two walls would be this one over here or this one, right? And this one is going to be the next target, right? So that's the thing I'm going to keep in mind, right? And that's pretty much the only way I know how to set up these things logically. Okay, so if they come in from the south side over here, right? So the south side, they seem to want to like go on this wall and just like glitch out, right? They just like go over here and then it's like, oh, I'm glitching out. Like I have no idea what's going on, why they do that, right? So rather odd phenomenon. Okay, but yeah, they seem to glitch out right on this wall over here from the south side. I'm gonna path it over here, right? For the west side, they seem to glitch out right over here, right? Right over here, right? Or right on the amplifier over here, right? So somehow they glitch out. Okay, so that's pretty much what happens on the west side and the south side. Okay, now it seems like because of the I have this slant over here, which is acting as an additional layer for this wall, right? So I think that also helps with how this is being built, right? Because of that additional layering over here. If I put a wall over here, they want to break on the wall. And once they break on the wall, they're already too close to this wall over here to want to path around. So that's why I don't want them to do that, right? Okay, so that's that. And let's go over to the design. Now I have these 4 walls over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the reason why I have that because I think I need appropriate amount of structures on this amplifier for it to be functional, even on the rare giggly wave. Right? So that's why I have these over here. It's for that. It's not 100% confirmed, but I do know if you don't have a certain amount of structures, which I experienced before, at the rare waves, you will fail, right? Without a doubt. Okay, so those people that are having extremely minimal builds on their amplifiers, there is going to be a rare chance that you will fail. All right, so it's really annoying though, because I've tested it so many times, and yeah, it kind of sucks. So, all right, so you have those walls over here. You have this wall over here as well. All right, then you kind of just look at the design over here. You have those 4 walls over there. You have 1 wall over there. You have a slant on this side over here. You have a roof as shown like this, right? The anti-air is actually just for testing, right? Because if a lobber gets shot from somewhere, right? It would tell me, hey, there's a lobber shooting. I'm like, oh, well, I need to really think of why it's happening. So that's pretty much what the anti-air is there for. It's not a necessity. It's just there for testing to see if a lobber will lob, right? And I'll just test it and I'll look at the durability at wave 29 or something. All right. So So we have slant over there, roof, and then walls over here, right? And it's like pretty overall, it should be a somewhat simple design, just have to copy paste. Right? But you can also test your own designs too to see how they've been working for you. Right? And I didn't want to spend too much on these amplifiers, right? Because I think overbuilding is a little bit expensive. So I want to say minimal structures, but still working on all waves, including the rare aggro waves. Okay, so that's that amplifier design over there. Let's see, I might actually add a wall launcher over here. So this is something I'm going to try to test to see if it still works. Let's see if I add a wall launcher over here, right? If I add a wall launcher over here, yeah, I'm probably going to make that 5 times impact. Alright, let's try it out. And the reason why I'm going to try it out, because I'm not 100% certain if I add a wall launcher here, it'll be safe, because if they go too far east over here, maybe they're too close to the wall, right? So again, I would have to test it out, you know. So this is what testing's all about. Luckily for the hill, it's easy to test because it's guaranteed to have mini bosses on wave 29, right? But something like the pit or the ridge, they don't have mini bosses guaranteed. That's much harder to test. Okay. Now, another thing to note too while I'm upgrading this is that it is not 100% guaranteed that you'll be dancing all the mini bosses. If you have like 3 mini bosses here, it's not guaranteed that they'll work for all of them, right? It's not because of something called RNG, which everyone likes to blame on. It's not because of that. It's because of something very specific called building blocker. And building blocker is the thing which some mini bosses can have as their effects, right? And it blocks you from building, right? But it can also block other mini bosses too from pathing. It seems to be working fine for a single mini boss, so if there's only one mini boss with building blocker, it seems to be okay. But when it comes to with a mini boss building blocker plus another mini boss, it seems to be kind of wonky. But I need to be confirmed 100% to see if it's 2 building blockers that makes it wonky, or is it 1 building blocker multi mini bosses that makes it wonky. So this is something I have to test and confirm, but it's pretty much guaranteed that building blocker is bugged, right? But there's only 1 mini boss, so you don't have to worry about this. So in the end, when it comes to the waves that have multiple mini bosses, it's still recommended that you push them into the lava over here, right? Or kill them, or however you want to deal with them. But for the lava amplifier, right, I'm actually still relying on this to work over here, right? But but you know, the chances of them being both what's it called, building blocker, and also they have to live through the meteor, and they also have to both path the same way, right? So there's all these little factors in. I think it's still I would consider this really reliable still, right? I still consider this really reliable, but it's still not guaranteed 100%, right? Just because of this new information about building blocker being bugged. It's also bugged with what's it called, bull rush, yeah. So that's that over there. Now we're on to the bridge design. So this bridge design is something I've been working on for a little bit, right? I'm testing all kinds of designs, and you know what? I came back to this one over here, right? But I'm gonna do a little bit different pathing. So I used to path them like all the way over here somewhere. I think I was pathing them straight up east in this direction. But the problem with this, right? The problem with that particular pathing over here, which I guess eventually it lands over here somewhere, right? I think it eventually lands over here somewhere. The problem with this particular pathing is that it's a really high density area for meteors. But if I go just 2 tiles north of that, this is actually a very low density for meteors, right? So this particular path over here is pretty much guaranteed to always stay up, right? No matter what, which is pretty much what I want. I want reliability. So I path them all the way over here instead, which is good. In the front over here, I think it's a little bit overbuilt, but you know what, you be the judge for that, right? So this is a recycling system I have over here, right? It's up to you exactly what you want to do with it, but this is what I got, all right? And then pretty much this is a smasher recycler all the way up here, right? And I'm expecting many of the husks, regular husks, are going to be recycled over here, but this is also going to be low density, so I'm not too worried about it in the end. Right? And then this is a 1 emergency wall launcher in case they make it past here. Launch it all the way out south, and lots of anti-airs over here, which is all nice and dandy. Yeah, that's pretty much the design of the bridge I have, right? Which is not really much new. Like maybe I had a wooden floor spec there. Yeah. All right. I may make a separate video for the bridge as well because this is very different from my video, which I really need to update. Really need to update. So the bridge amplifier design, right? So I haven't tested for when the mini boss gets north, right? But I'm hoping it will work where they would start glitching from over here, similar to where the hill is how it's designed, right? So I'm hoping it'll work, but I haven't tested it fully on the north, so this is something I do have to test, right? Which yeah, I need to do lots of testing, by the way. So, but most of the time they're going to be coming from the south side. So when the melee boss comes from the south side over here, right, eventually they get over here, which then they either glitch from over here, right, or they glitch from over to the east, right? And I think most of the time it's going to be glitching towards the east, which is kind of odd because the wall is literally like right here. They're literally right there, but they don't seem to break it. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'll accept that, sure. So yeah, that's pretty much how it seems like. It seems to be glitching. Yeah, how you design it over here, I put a roof on top, right? And put the walls over here, so 1, 2, 3 over there. The slant over here. And this slant is acting an additional layering to prevent them from pathing all the way around. And we have walls on the back over here, right? So I'm just gonna do a nice storm and show you that. So you can see the walls on the back over here, right? You can go ahead and copy that. We have a slant in here, and then we have a slant facing outwards like this, right? This is my design so far. Alright, I may have to do adjustments on it just so I can cut back on a little bit of tiles, because I think it's a tiny bit expensive. I might be able to cut it back on a couple tiles. That's what I got so far. Now for the pit build over here, right, to make sure that the husk can path back, I have this little thing over here, right? So make sure I can path them all the way around over here. And I also have one over here as well, right? These two floors. Alright. But if I figure out that, hey, maybe I don't need those walls over here, or you know, may not need this slant over here, then I can go ahead and remove them. Alright. So, but that's what I have so far. Alright. So, here's a look at it one more time. Okay. And the reason why I have these 3 walls is because I'm thinking if the mini boss comes in from the north side over here, he might want to take a shortcut over here. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe put these walls over here and then he won't take the shortcut. So again, this is something I'm going to be testing. So you guys can also test with me too if you want, you know, happy dancing mini bosses. Change this to a double wooden floor spike, wall spike, sorry, on both sides on this wall. Very minor things. I think everything in here has been the same in terms of layering. I think I removed some stuff at the front over there that I'm testing. Right, some stuff in the front there I removed, but that's for testing. And we have the pit. Now the pit I haven't confirmed at all to be working, right? So I'm still going to be trying to figure out, because the logic for me is again trying to get them to break on that wall, right? But this is going to act as too many layers, and then see if I can glitch them over here, right? But that's pretty much the kind of design I'm trying to go for. I haven't confirmed if it works, because the last design it didn't work, because instead the mini boss wanted path over here, right? So instead they want to path all the way down here where I'm walking, right? And eventually break on this wall, and eventually getting down. So I'm thinking if I add these layers over here, add that wall layer over here, which forces them to take a longer pathway, then maybe I could do it like this, right? Maybe they'll jump all the way down. So this is something, again, I need to be testing. Okay. I think everything here has been the same, just some of these walls have been removed over here. Okay. The devil amplifier, if you are using the cheesy strategy for the devil amplifier, there is not a way to cheese the amplifier, at least from what I know over here, right? So this is the design over here. So yeah, I had to think about what exactly to do for the devil amp, because even though it is rare, it still can have wave 5 and wave 16 come. And when AFKing and it gets attacked on, let's say, wave 21 afterwards, then I'm like, oh, that could be trouble, right? So this is something I do have to do some testing on, but I've done none so far. And this is just, again, this is for the hustlings, because they might come in from the double north, right? Random places, and then eventually want to come over here to get gassed, right? Essentially, that's what the design of this is for, right? But this is totally optional, in my opinion, because hustlings don't do enough damage to be a threat. But yeah, that's up to you. Alright, so your last on going to be the ridge design over here. So the ridge, I've gone through many changes, which I might do a video on, right? Depending on how comfortable I am with these changes. Right, so as you can see, I have a little bit more layering at the front over here. That's what it seems like. Right, the back over here has been the same. I removed the wall over here because there does seem to be a lava bomb that destroys it. So, yeah. And I've done something really interesting over here, right? Instead of doing the 2 wall launchers with the 2 floor launchers, I did 3 wall launchers, right? So you see I did the 3 wall launcher over here, and 2 of them are tar pits. And then I'm doing this little edited stair piece over here, right? So even though this edited stair piece is actually can have a risk of just being destroyed, but these 3 wall launchers take care of pretty much all the husks, right? Because yeah, it's just really that good. All you need is 1 wall launch from the husk and then down, right? And you don't have to worry about them because they're gonna get jailed down there, right? So this is why I'm doing this particular one instead, because it's also going to be really good for the smashers, right? Because if a smasher somehow makes it over here, you'll still get staggered down here, which then they'll take the long pathway, and eventually they'll go meet all the way over here, eventually go over here, eventually go over here, and then they can get staggered recycled, right? Using the wall light over here, right? Or the wall light over here, right? So that's pretty much the idea of that, right? So it's still really effective. And if somehow a smasher does make it over here, because I'm going to assume it's going to be a smasher, then they have the wall light over here, which then could just stagger them, right? But yeah, that is the ridge design changes I've done, right? But as a result, I did have to change the front a little bit here for a little bit more layering, right? So as you can see, I have a little bit more layering than usual, which I may do a video on. Right, the lobber shield has been pretty much the same. I just added that one little tippy top over there, which I'll get to. I added this over here because it seems like someone in my Discord said that a fling from over here, and I'm like, what? That's possible? I've never seen that. I'm pretty sure most people have never seen that. But yeah, I just put that one structure there because if they can fling from there, then that would be the spot. So yeah. Excuse me. Another thing to note, if you're going to do this kind of design, make sure you don't have walls over here. Do not have walls over here. I'll mark as wood. Do not put walls over there. Do not put slants over here, right? As extra layering. Do not. So it actually really killed me when I was testing. I'm like, why are they lobbing like crazy? Like wave 2, wave 22, they were lobbing like crazy on my lobber shield. I'm like, well, what the heck is going on? So I had to go back to some recordings to my older builds and then change the layering over here to like this, and then it's like, oh, they stopped lobbing. Oh, okay. So it seems like they do want to target these structures on they do want to target the block off for those lobbers, which is really odd. So if they do it too far back, it seems like they go crazy. So it seems like this kind of design works, and I'm trying to figure out what's the reasoning behind it. I also added these structures over here. You see these little slants over here? I think there's 5 slants. I added those structures too, and that is also for extra protection. Though I may actually remove these 2 gas traps because it seems like I don't really need them. Alright, so I'm gonna have to remember that. But yeah, that is for the ridge changes, but I probably should do a separate video for it, right? But the lobber shield has been pretty much exactly the same, just, you know, slight change at the front. So the ridge design over here, right? So let's go over that. So I'm kind of using some other stuff. But essentially, we're going to have walls all surrounded over here except for certain walls. So you can see I have 6 walls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright? So those 6 walls over here, make sure you build. You have a slant facing the southwest over here. So the slant, make sure you put that down over there. And reason why I need that slant, I have no idea. Just put it down there. but I do need this slant over here, right? So this slant is going to be really important because they're going to want to attack this wall over here, right? But because this slant is acting additional layering, they're going to path around here, which then they get stuck. So this is the dancing spot over here, all right? And then these two walls over here, which is also going to be important because, well, AI reasons, okay? So let's just accept that. And then put this roof on top, right? And the roof is going to be important again for AI reasons. But yeah, that's pretty much the design over here, and they should get stuck going back and forth in here. Now, there have been cases where the mini boss does teleport. So I would have to check the footage to reason why they teleport, but when they do teleport, it seems like what happened was that they teleport in like some block off in here, but then they teleported back, and they teleported forward and teleported back, and like, I had no idea what was going on there. Literally no clue. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna accept it. So there's many things in here which, even though they're not dancing mini bosses, they do a teleport loop, and I'm just like, whoa, crazy. But yeah, these are some of the things you guys can test on, right? And I'll just share with you guys, and I can show you several clips of it too as I'm going along here. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, right? This amplifier, the amplifier designs for dancing mini bosses, or these teleport loops, right? Whatever you want to do. But yeah, this is something that you guys can try to figure out, because I've been trying to slowly test it out myself, and I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Now there's another thing I want to point out, slight update on the home base before I end the video. So this over here, right? There's been cases where the husks may land on there, even though this is 0 impact. So I add these slants over here, right? And hopefully that should prevent them from happening. Okay. And so that's not on the home base east, right? A very minor adjustment over there. I think everything else has been pretty much the same. This is for the phasing husk and dynamo. I added a wall launcher, added a gas trap maybe, and that's it. Now for the home base north, right? The home base north over here, I think I will actually release a video on, maybe next video even, right? Because the home base north has been a lot cheaper now, right? So essentially it's going to be the damage build, right? I've been telling you guys about doing a damage build. Damage build does have higher requirements, right? But luckily it is the home base north, right? Which doesn't have a guarantee to have an attack, right? And it seems like for the home base north, right, the reason why I'm doing it so cheap over here is because it seems like from data that I've gathered from many people is that they only get attacked wave 11 or wave 21 from the random waves. They don't get attacked on the other random waves, which actually gives me a lot of information, because not only that mini boss is not going to get attacked from it, it also means wave 26, the hardest random wave, is not going to get attacked from it. So I can actually make these kind of cheap, right? So yeah, so I think I'll do a video on it, but essentially it's going to be like, do a little zigzag with the half floor over here, and then get launched in here, zap, and then eventually come up here, and get zapped over here with the dynamos, and yeah, broadsides for the friggin' smashers. And pretty much, from my experience, a smasher, well, not my experience, someone else's experience, because I still haven't gotten wave 11 on the home base north, because, you know, it's really rare. But essentially, a smasher should be, in theory, coming up here and start charging immediately, right? Literally immediately. And so you're charging towards that wall over here, right? And then you start charging here, and in theory, which is not 100%, the tar pit should stop them, right? And then the broadsides would finish them off, right? But there have been cases where these smashers go through tar pits, so yeah. But the reason why I don't have walls in here, because it seems like the smasher will charge these walls. So let's give them a wall where they'll charge straight. So this is the wall, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to show you guys what I've been doing for the past few days in testing, right? And trust me, it's been a lot of testing, right? But yeah, hopefully next video I'll show you the home base north and damage build, where you can save a lot more structures compared to my previous build, right? And yeah, that should be really good. But the only thing is, you're gonna have to do damage, right? So those people that don't have really high tech, that's not gonna be ideal for them. All right, but because I have, well, good tech, right? Then yeah, it'll be good for me. So yeah, that'll be it for this video, and as always, everybody, have fun building.